Well, hello and welcome to another edition of Stogie Review Video Review. And well, back once again this week. I have another new cigar, and as I was talking last week throughout the review, I wasn't sure whether I was going to do something from IPCPR or something readily available. And as it turns out, it seems as though the Cubao by EO Brands is becoming readily distributed. You can pick these up in quite a few places, so I thought, well, you know, we can kill two birds with one stone. I'll do the Cubao, and it will also be sort of a wrap-up for the show. Now, this cigar is one of two that were released by EO Brands this year, and I gave you a lot of false information on the other one, and it seems as though I was fed a lot of false information on that cigar. The Mi Barrio, I think it's pronounced, is actually an EO Brands product. It is not. It's not one of Don Pepin's cigars. It's made by him, but it's not one of his cigars. It belongs to EO Brands, and the blend isn't to honor Don Pepin Garcia by his son. There's a totally different storyline behind it, and I'm going to get more involved in that when I get to that review, which maybe next week. I don't know. Everything's just so up in the air right now. Now, back to the Cubao and the United Tobacco Incorporated website, which is UnitedTobaccoInc.com. It displays the Cubao as the latest edition of the EO premium brands. The Cubao is tripping over my words. The Cubao is manufactured in Esteli, Nicaragua. It's made exclusively by United Tobacco by Don Pepin Garcia, which you probably knew that by now. The cigar is made up of Nicaraguan tobaccos topped with a oily Sumatra Oscuro wrapper. This particular size is the number 5, which is a 50 by 6 1/8, and they come packaged 20 to a box. Just to repeat myself a little bit more, the wrapper is an Ecuadorian-grown Sumatra Oscuro. The filler is Nicaraguan. The binder is also Nicaraguan, and EO Brands classifies the strength as medium to full-bodied with lots of flavor. So we are going to get started and see how it goes. Now, more on a little bit about this cigar. I had mentioned that at the trade show, I didn't get any EO samples until the very last day, practically an hour or two before we were leaving. That back corner was just mobbed with, all in one corner was Tatuaje, Don Pepin Garcia, EO Brands. It became mobbed all the time, constantly. There was just tons and tons of people back there, and it was very difficult to get in touch with someone because everyone was very busy placing orders and whatnot. So last day, Jesse and I are just kind of wandering around, and he grabbed Eric from EO Brands in the aisle on the way back there, and started talking to him a little bit. They had met before, and he introduced us to one of his family members. I think his name is Raul, and he gave us the rundown on the brand and all the information behind it, as well as the new Don Pepin Garcia cigar. And they're very nice. He gave me tons of time. Eric was actually running to do something, so I didn't mind being passed off, and we got lots of information there, and I really appreciate the time. Now, on to looking over the cigar. The idea behind this cigar, from what I understand, is to have like an old world, a rugged, rough sort of look to it, and that it really does have. The band itself is very simplistic. There's nothing, no shiny, flashy stuff on it. It's very basic, simple. It's simple and gets the job done. I mean, that's the best way to put it. It's very plain. The wrapper itself is it's got a very natural look to it. When you see these dyed Maduros where they look perfect, black from head to foot, this is a natural Oscuro. There's no fancy stuff going on to make it all one solid color. So there's a little bit of modeling going on. There's a variation in color. It looks very natural and nice, actually. There's a handful of medium-sized veins. The cigar's got sort of a rough and rugged sort of texture to it when you handle it and roll it around your fingers. You can feel a little bit of lumpiness, a couple of veins here and there. The cigar feels as though it's constructed very well. I'm not getting any soft spots head to foot. The foot is a little spongy, but probably nothing to be concerned about. Cap was constructed very well. Nice, neat triple cap. The foot, when you look at the foot at the tobacco, you can see that there's some space in there. So after listening to Christian Eiroa's seminar the other week at Cigars International, he was saying, take a look at the foot. If it looks like everything's sort of mashed together, you're going to get an incredibly tight draw. In this case, it looks like there's some room to move, so everything should be good to go. And as far as lighting today, I'm going to do the ACE method, which is not to puff on the cigar, it's just to toast the cigar until it's completely lit. And he's been talking about this his method for quite a while now on the fan forums, and I just recently told him I'd give it a try. And actually, I've done this a couple of times since I posted that on the forums. And one thing I find is I need a very hot lighter like this table torch. My Blazer PB207 just will not do it. It's not hot enough. It just can't generate enough heat. And with the table torch, I can do that and get it glowing red. And off we go, and I don't pull any excess heat through the cigar, so it's a nice change of pace. The smoke is a little airy at this point, which really doesn't surprise me. The foot was a little spongy, but that should go away in no time at all. The cigar looks like it's burning fairly even from the start, even with that my inexperienced new way of lighting the cigar. And it smokes a little airy, mild to start, so really I'm just going to let this develop for a few minutes, and we'll see where it goes. Well, welcome back, and we're looking at about 40 minutes elapsed time now. And I gotta tell you, I'm really enjoying this cigar. And it's even better now that I've had the opportunity to get away from the hustle and bustle of the trade show and just finally relax and smoke a cigar and mean to enjoy it. Not like just light it up to enjoy it as you're walking around, but physically sit down and try to unwind and have a cigar. It's been a very nice smoke so far. Now, right behind me, I have, or actually not behind me, but behind the camera, I have a fan that's sort of circulating the air around the room a little bit. I've got a window crack to try to kind of force the smoke out of the room. And I've got a little bit of a breeze sort of coming towards me, and I think that's why I've got a little bit of a wavy burn, which you may be able to see there. All in all, it's really not that bad. It's well within reason as far as that imaginary 3/8 of an inch line that goes around the cigar that I've mentioned numerous times. What I feel is acceptable. And the burn line's really thin. It's got a nice dark, crisp line. The ash is fairly light. It's compacted, it's tight. I haven't had any ash incidents falling on the keyboard. Everything's been contained to the ashtray, no problems there. But the flavor has been tremendously interesting up until this point. Initially, you know, before I turned the camera off, I was getting sort of a light and airy smoke. I don't know whether that was from the soft foot or if it was just the lighting method, but it was sort of light and airy. But I don't know, after 4 or 5 puffs, the cigar really opened up, and I was getting just loads of really thick, dense smoke. And when I say dense, I mean like it just sort of lays flavor on your palate. You can feel it's thick in your mouth. It's really easy to push through your sinuses. It kind of lingers in the air. It's a type of smoke that I really enjoy, and that I think most people really enjoy. You know, you see people blowing smoke rings and whatnot at the cigar shop. This is the density of smoke that's going to make that very easy for you. But the flavor itself, it's got a stout-like quality to it. A stout beer. It's got a creaminess, and it's got a bitter component that play well together. It makes for a very dynamic flavor. And when I get the smoke through my sinuses and sort of let it settle for a second or two, I start to pick up the really unique flavors, and that's sort of this weird pepper flavor. And when I say a weird pepper flavor, I mean that in terms of taste, it's sort of along the lines of a green pepper, but it has the bite or heat of a red pepper, which is very interesting in a cigar. I've never been able to dissect the pepper flavor that much before, but it's very interesting. It makes for a great character. Now, after the pepper flavor kind of fades and you're letting the cigar sit in the ashtray for a minute or two, you start to pick up a woody flavor that comes over on the palate, and you know it lingers for a minute or two and then fades pretty quickly. All in all, you know, I really like the dynamic of everything that's going on. You know, I'm really enjoying the flavors. The body is medium at best. I mean, it doesn't feel heavy, or well, it does feel heavy, but it doesn't feel strong or overwhelming. It makes for a nice smooth smoke. And the finish, just as I mentioned before, with that stout-like creaminess, is very nice. All in all, you know, I'm really enjoying the cigar up until now, well, up to this point. One thing I did want to make note of, which is really has nothing to do with the cigar, is the microphone that I'm using for the camera. Tom, aka McLovin from Twitter, saved the day. I went to Radio Shack, and I can't find it now, but I went to Radio Shack before, and here it is. I got this adapter, and basically it's a female to male, and it was supposed to put a mono in one, and the output was supposed to be dual mono, you know, on both left and right speakers. But for whatever reason, they gave me the wrong one, and you know, I kind of figured it was going to have to be a software thing, where I'd have to fix the audio in a third-party piece of software, and it was going to take lots of time, and you know, I really didn't want to use the mic for these reviews. Well, as it turns out, Tom saw the review last week and shot me an email to let me know that I just got the wrong adapter. I went to a different Radio Shack where they have this. I went to this one Radio Shack because it was convenient. It was right around the corner from my house. I went to the other one. It was a little bit of a drive, but there's just a guy that's amazing there. You need anything based on electronics, and you know, snap of a finger, and he's off to go find it for you. He knows exactly where it is, and the guy's pretty impressive. So I went there, and within minutes, I had my adapter. I came home, checked it. Everything's working great. So from now on, hopefully the audio is a little bit better. So there you have it. Glancing over at my notes, I'm looking at about an hour and 10 minutes now, and well, I'm just about through the second third of my Cubao. by EO Brands. And just as before, I've got a little bit of waviness going on, and again, I'm positive it's from the fan behind me, but I'd rather have it circulating in the air than it get like boiler room hot in here. I'm planning on doing more reviews outside. Unfortunately, I really haven't gotten the opportunity to do it as of late, and with the summer months here, by the time I get home from work and prep to do the review, usually it's when the weather's beginning to cool off, it's not so humid anymore, it's not so uncomfortable, and that's usually when I go out and mow the lawn, and my neighbors do the same thing. So I really need to watch my neighbors a little closer and see if they have a trend on when they mow the lawn. Maybe I'll get outside and try to do the review at some point, or maybe I'll just do it in the morning on the weekends or something. But definitely look forward to more outside reviews. The inside's nice and all, but well, it's a mess in here, but it's comfortable. So anyway, you're going to see a change of scenery at some point. The Cubao is going very well. The body has creeped up a little bit. It's still very much in the medium range. It's slowly progressing towards medium to full, but it's a very slow progression, and if it keeps up at this pace, I don't even think it may hit the medium to full range. It's medium. I mean, I don't know how else to put it, but it's very, very flavorful. There's not a lot of kick to it as far as the nicotine goes or strength. It's a very enjoyable cigar. It's very smooth. The finish is nice and creamy. It's when you expel the smoke from your mouth, I get this just nice creamy feel, and the best way I can put it is to relate back to that stout-like component. A lot of times, or a lot of the stouts that I drink leave me with this really creamy texture on the walls of my mouth and on my palate. And I'm getting the same sort of creaminess from the cigar, which I'm finding very enjoyable. And one of the interesting things is I usually try to sip on water throughout the review, and I really haven't even been compelled to sip on the water. I'm enjoying the flavor so much that I've got the same glass of water sitting off to the side that I poured an hour and 10 minutes ago. So I'm really enjoying the cigar, and I think the flavors are fantastic. That red pepper, green pepper kind of complexity has started to fade, and it's replaced by a very rich, oily coffee flavor, and there's a lot of chocolate in there as well. And it's got just as much complexity, and I'm getting just as much enjoyment out of it as I was that complex pepper flavor. Now, in addition, I'm getting some wood here and there, and just like before, it comes on more after the fact. After the smoke's expelled from the mouth for a few minutes, I get this nice light woody flavor that just kind of comes on and quickly fades. All in all, I'm enjoying it, and I know I sound like a broken record. I just don't know what else to say. I find it to be very nice, and I kind of just want to get the review over with so I can just tell you how much I like it. But I don't really want to do that. We'll hold off until the final third is up. One other thing I wanted to make note about with this cigar, and I'm not quite sure if I mentioned it in the beginning, it's definitely in my notes, but I don't remember saying it, is this cigar's got that sort of old world look to it, and I know I mentioned the band being very simplistic, but the boxes are very rustic. They have a heavily distressed appearance to them, and I got to handle one at the trade show, and I just like it. It's very difficult to read. Just think of a very nice wooden cedar cigar box that's been dropped on the ground, kind of scraped on the asphalt, kicked around, gotten pretty dirty, and then someone just burned in all the lettering and whatnot, and then they did it all over again. So it's got this very dark, dirty appearance to it. It's very rustic, very distressed. I think it looks great. It's not so good for reading. It's difficult to see what the box says, but I really like that old world beat up look. I think it ties everything together so well. The natural oscuro wrap, or I shouldn't say it that way. the naturally matured Oscuro wrapper, has that sort of mottled look to it, and everything ties together. The look of the wrapper with the veins and whatnot, the box being so beat up, the band being very simple. It just makes the appearance all come together, and it's great. I like it. Welcome back, and we're at about an hour and 40 minutes into the cigar now, and I gotta tell you, this is a great cigar. I'm really enjoying it, and as I move further into the cigar, it just gets more complex and more interesting, and it's got me having mixed feelings. It's interesting. I'm enjoying each third so much that I really don't want it to progress because I'm enjoying, the current flavors, but yet I want to see what's around the corner, and I get this feeling every third. And finally, I come to the final third, and there is yet another transition, although it's not quite as varied as it was before. Now, I'm still getting this rich sort of stout-like flavor where it's a little bitter. There's a heavy coffee and chocolate flavor there, and the interesting part is the sort of red pepper that was there in the first third really comes back in a big way. And what I mean is, when the smokes pass through my sinuses, I'm getting a very heavy spice. It's enough to make my eyes water a little bit. I know this is going to sound very strange, but it's like tasting a good horseradish or a good Chinese mustard, where you sort of get the heat through your nose. I'm getting along the same lines, the same thing out of the cigar, which is very unique. I've never really gotten heat before, or not, and I don't want you to take that the wrong way. I don't mean heat like physically the cigar is hot. I'm puffing on it too much, but that sort of heat sensation that you get from like a horseradish. And it's very intriguing and very interesting. It's not something that I think I've ever gotten before. Usually, it's more of like a defined spice, like a defined pepper or something like that. But this is different, and it's something all its own. I'm really enjoying it. After the smoke is expelled through the mouth, it settles a little bit. I'm still getting a little bit of wood, but I'm getting more of a bitter flavor, like the stout. But it's a little bit different from when you get a mouthful of smoke. The finish is very creamy, and the body, it's still medium. Just as I anticipated, I didn't really think it was going to hit the medium to full range. It hasn't, but it's medium. There's virtually no strength. I'm not feeling I'm not feeling woozy from nicotine or anything like that. I've had very little water throughout the cigar, and it's been pleasant throughout. Even as it's getting shorter, it's still very cool. Again, I'm a very slow smoker, so that may have a lot to do with it. The fan is still creating a little bit of breeze on the cigar, so I do have to rotate it a little bit, but it's the burn line is easily managed. The fan really isn't playing that big a role, so it tells me the cigar is constructed very well. I'm getting big, thick mouthfuls of smoke every time I puff on the cigar. If the draw is free with a little bit of resistance to it, I don't feel the need to over puff like I'm getting too much air or I'm not getting enough smoke. It's just right. Just want to glance at my notes real quick. Don't want to go too far off track. The burn rate has been great. An hour and 40 minutes. That's quite a long time for this size cigar, at least for me anyway. Your time is obviously going to vary, and it's probably safe to say that if you take my time and divide it in half, that's probably a more realistic time for the general population because of how long I actually let it sit in the ashtray. There's been a couple of times when it was almost on the verge of going out, but I grabbed it just in time, and it didn't take much, and it was back up and running again. Overall, I think I've said it numerous times, I really enjoyed the cigar, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone that's on the market for a very rich, medium-bodied cigar. I enjoyed it so much, in fact, that if I were going to make a top 10 list right now, as far as all the cigars I've had this year, the Cubao would certainly make the top of the list. I'm really enjoying it. I thought it was a great cigar, and one of the things that I found most interesting about it was the total package. I mean, the heavily distressed, beat-up looking boxes, the mottled wrapper, the simple band, it all just comes together, and it's a very good cigar without being flashy. It doesn't need to be flashy. It doesn't need to be over the top. It's just it looks very simple and rustic, and it delivers big flavor. It's one that I'm certainly looking forward to seeing what EO is going to do next year to top it. I mean, it's I don't know. It made a big impression on me. That's it for the review. Next week, I don't know what I'm going to smoke. Maybe the other new EO brand cigar, but that's sort of up in the air. I've also got a request from Matt for the Dion cigar, Illusion. So maybe I'll get to that. I think I have an F9. I know I have one more left from a care package that CD sent me, Chris Darling, and I've got one left that I've been holding on to. I can't get them locally. And in fact, the last time I saw that cigar in a store was when I was out in Gettysburg, which is about 2 hours from here. So maybe I'll get to that. I've had very few, but the ones I've had, I've enjoyed. So it should be a good time smoking it. Before I get out of here, one thing I definitely wanted to mention was the survey that you guys are filling out for the contest in the month of April. The contest for the month of August. I really can't say it enough, but you guys are just awesome. Thank you very much. We've got a ton of just positive information there, and I knew that we had a very loyal and dedicated following, but I had no idea that people cared this much. And it's very humbling to see that kind of stuff, and I really appreciate everyone taking the time to fill out that survey. And if you haven't filled it out, please take a minute or two. It's very simple, 10 questions, one of which is your email address to enter into the contest. So it's very simple, most of which you just pick your answers. I think there's two, or you can actually type in a lengthy sentence if you'd like. But I tried to keep it as simple as possible, yet informative for us, and we've gotten a lot of great suggestions for the site that we're really looking forward to implementing. Some were kind of unrealistic, or not so much unrealistic, but we take a tremendous amount of work. Others are very simple, and we're going to try to get those done as soon as possible. I love the feedback. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much. With that said, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you again, and until next week, happy smoking.